What went wrong against the Gators?
You know, the reality is this is Jimmy's and Joe's win games. And I'm not subscribing to the fact that Florida State is as bad as what people have tried to make it. Like there's this talent dearth that people make, but I'm also not gonna lie and say that Florida State has recruited to the same level as Florida. Um, I was talking to some guys, and they were just telling me in general after the Miami game, and they were like, if Miami would have just lined up and played us man coverage and said we just have better guys than you on defense, we would have got blown out. Miami got a little arrogant, and they tried to do the one thing that Jordan Travis actually does well, contrary to what's written: bring pressure. He uses and you run zone. He uses his legs very well. So why do I bring up Miami? Literally, that's the game plan that Florida had. Florida said our front seven's better than what you have. We're going to play basic and we're going to play man coverage and we're going to dare your wide receivers to beat us. And if you watch that game, you don't see consistent wins with in this against their secondary. You've got Andrew Parchment, the guy you brought in to be your big play receiver to replace the Tamarind Terry and hopefully be better, and he's getting D'd up by a freshman corner. You've got, you had some of the biggest play we had in the receiving core was a one-handed catch by Pokey Wilson, and it was well covered. It was just a good catch. And outside of that, now you go to miscues, and the miscues are just special teams. We had all the momentum in the game until again Pokey Wilson fumbles the punt or muffs the kick, and now you're in a situation where you stopped them, you had good momentum, and then now you gave them good field position, and even then you had a stop, but it was just a guy didn't broke two tackles. We joke all day about 4th and 14. I told Anthony Richardson, great kid. I said, man, you got to make 3rd and 25, like because that's really what sealed the game. Them converting a 3rd and 25, which should not have happened, should be impossible to do. And then the last thing, the Charlie Brown kick, which I have watched a lot of football in my life, and I have never seen somebody whiff so badly on an onside kick. I've seen bad onside kicks that went straight to the guys, but I've never seen somebody completely miss the ball. And all in all, it was a really terrible football game. If you're not a Florida State or Florida fan, if I didn't have to cover it, I honestly would have much rather watched Ohio State, Michigan, or Georgia dismantle Georgia Tech, or watch grass grow. It's a lot of other things that I could have been doing, but I knew I had to talk about it. But when you really just kind of narrow it all down, and it's just Florida State doesn't have a dynamic wide receiver, and when you don't have any threats and your offensive line is still growing, you're a one dimensional team, and they made us one dimensional. And the SEC has better line play across the board.
For me, James, I'm going to flip it on the other side for a second. You look at that Miami game, and we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks, going back for the previous two wins. The Miami game was a game where the defense bent, but they did not break. Obviously, we jump out to a big lead, give up the lead, but then are able to come back on offense. Then the Boston College game, you have that jump out to a huge lead. You're up 26-3, and then it kind of seemed as if it was the defense just said, all right, we've got a big enough lead. We can start to play bad a little bit. Florida was, I blame this on Adam Fuller, and I blame this on the defense, because this was a case of the defense thought that the offense was going to bail them out again. They thought the offense was going to bail them out just like they did in the Miami game. They thought the offense was going to bail them out just like they did in the Boston College game by jumping out to a big lead. Florida's defense, though, is better than Boston College's. Florida's defense is better than Miami's. Florida has better athletes. Do I believe Anthony Richardson is a better quarterback than Tyler Van Dyke or Sam Howell, two quarterbacks that Florida State beat? Absolutely not. But Anthony Richardson played the way you are supposed to play against that bad Florida State defense. That's why Florida State lost the game. And this is where the problem has to come in for next season. This was not a one-time thing. The Adam Fuller mistakes, this was not a one-time thing. So the question is, where are the changes going to be? Is Mike Norvell going to make a change at certain coaches' positions? Is he going to make a coordinator change? This is where this offseason becomes very important because you've got a big class coming in. You know, a lot of names right now who are committed. Hopefully a few more come in. Florida State right now looks like they're on track for a big signing day coming up in a couple of weeks, an early signing day. Do you make that move? And I think you have to consider making that move. I think Adam Fuller, this is his second season. I did not see a vast improvement over the course of the 2021 season from 2020 to justify him sticking around for a third season.
Let me ask you this. All right. Did you see multiple times where defensive ends collapsed the pocket from the tackles position, and we didn't get any push from the D tackle position, but the guys were in position to make a tackle?
Yes.
Were there numerous times?
Yes.
How is that on the defensive coordinator? If they were in position to stop it and they didn't stop it, that's not like the defensive a coach's job is to call a play and give you the opportunity. I get the Adam Fuller critiques. At the end of the day, the Bucks and Adam Fuller, most of those coaches, and this is one of the things that I've never understood about fans who make excuses. Because I will give these guys their credit. They listen to a lot of stuff. They don't make excuses for themselves. They're not losers. But I will say this, outside of Adam Fuller going and playing linebacker and doing some stuff, you can't say that. Like Seven, consistently in position, he just gets dunked on. He just doesn't make it. Like I can see if there were even the Jacksonville State game going way, way back, and everybody talks about prevent. And I've always heard this. The only thing prevent does is prevent you from winning a game. There were two guys in position to make a tackle. And if you're getting beat, pull them. Get a pass interference, you get another untimed down. If a guy is in position and outside of like all the major media goes back and writes, not us. We actually have been pretty real on this show. But all the major media talked about how the rosters were flipped, but then all of a sudden started talking about how we have a dearth in talent and we don't have it. If that's the truth, then if the guys are in position, it's probably just a talent issue. And if you resolve that getting better linebacker play, you resolve that hopefully by getting better detail. Now the scary thing is you're not going to have a Jermaine Johnson. Now what I'll say is this: is you have 3 interceptions in the first half. I believe it was 4 total turnovers, and you got 7 points. Anytime a defense scores 24, gets that many turnovers, holds the team to 24 points, it probably would have held more if the offense would have scored because you would have forced Anthony Richardson to have to throw. You would have changed their offensive game plan. The offense has to bail the defense out, and our offense stinks in the second half. So if you go look at games, the entire third quarter, the offense didn't score a point. Consecutive 3 and outs and things like that. The defense, I haven't looked at it, but if we look at time of possession on the field for the last 2 seasons, our defense has probably played 2 full seasons more than our offense. So that just kind of wears you down. And again, there's no excuses at the end of the day. Coach Bowden used to always tell us at halftime, the other team don't score, we win. Because defense got to stop them. But I have a hard time putting all of that on Fuller when we can't get creative. We don't have a guy that can get open. You got to if you get 3 turnovers and a half, a competent team is scoring 24 points in the first half. It is 24. It should have been 24-7 at worst going into halftime, and Florida's folding it up and packing it up. Now, I also blame some of I've talked to Mike. I don't mind Mike. I think Mike needs time. You can't fire another coach and do whatever. But I blame some coaching decisions, 6 seconds left, and that's the play you run. Everybody's blaming Jordan Travis, but I blame the person. That play wasn't designed to score. It wasn't designed to do anything. Time management. You had 1:40 seconds left in the game, and you knew you were down 2 scores. You were in field goal range, so kick the damn field goal. then try the onside kick, and you have 3 timeouts. So if you do the Charlie Brown kick, you still have a chance to stop them and make them go 3 and out. That's coaching. That's like. But again, I also remember when I was talking to them, they've never coached in this game. These boys stayed in Gainesville. We don't stay in Gainesville. This is how bad that rivalry is, Mark. We stayed halfway, the halfway point. We'll drive an hour and a half to Lake City when I play, and then we'll take 75 on down that morning or whatever time we need to get there. These boys stayed in Gainesville. I'm like, yo, that's a rookie. That's a mistake right there. That lets me know that they heard about the magnitude of the game, but they don't understand quite the magnitude of the game. Another thing that that just tripped me out is just again, you know, just we didn't like use the running backs in the passing game, which when we think about Clemson, the big play against Clemson was the wheel route with Toafili. Those guys can catch very, very well. Now I will say this: it's difficult for a wide receiver to get off a press. For us, like nobody else in the nation, but for us, it seemed Sanford did a hell of a job doing it for whatever reason. But one thing, the biggest mismatch on the field is a running back on a linebacker. And our running backs are skilled receivers. So we got to do a better job of incorporating that. But all in all, I want to be mad because I got expectations and got hopes.
Be mad.
Well, no, I'm mad. I mean, don't get it twisted. What I mean is that when they went 0-4, I never thought we would be in this position.
Right.
That being said, 0-4 was never acceptable for me because you don't lose to Jacksonville State. Again, it goes back to again. So if to fans, because I know fans, they listen to the noise that gets put at them the most. And this is no disrespect to the 247s, the rivals, the whoever the hell else puts out a podcast every day, because I have other things to do. But common sense will tell you this: it can't be a dearth of talent, and you take the number 6 team in the nation into overtime. It can't be a dearth of talent, and you take a Clemson, who's been one of the most dominant teams in the last decade. You should have beat them.